Look at this. This is product placement right here. One of the things, I went to 2 of your sessions. The second one was the roundtable. And I really enjoyed it, and I want to kind of dive into some of that stuff. But before we do that, I'd love for you to introduce yourself, who you are, who you work for, and like what's your role?
So I'm Danny, traveled from Berlin, Germany, all over here. I work for SoundCloud. There's our headquarters, but hopefully you SoundCloud.
I do.
That's good, great to hear. So I did mobile for a long time, like before Android there was BlackBerry, and then I came to SoundCloud doing Android there, led the Android team for a while. And then moved a bit on, like doing a full stack, as they call it, a bit of backend, a bit of front end, a bit of like React Native, like all these things. And yeah, nowadays it's a lot about AI. Let's be honest.
As with everything at this point in time.
Exactly.
So the conversations that were in that room, there was a lot of great input. I was probably the only non-developer that was in that room, and you can feel that there is just a lot of emotion because of what's happening in development right now. What are you seeing in the industry and like the impact and like the emotions that are behind it?
So to go back to the room yesterday, what I liked, and also in the conference, no one seems to be like against AI. It seems like every developer here using these tools, Claude, Cursor, whatever, Codex, like every day. It definitely changed. I had this quote in the talk that I gave, that I started with, that was something like, I think it was from Uncle Bob, was like, it's a video, it's like, it's over. You're not going to be the one that writing the code anymore. And it seems like no one is in questioning this. It's like that, right? What maybe differs is how we define the developer role and what's our role in the future. And I think there yesterday in the room, there seemed to be 2 factions. The one kind of embracing it and like adapting, and the one saying, no, there will be Android developers and we are still needed. So it was very interesting yesterday to see that. But I was happy to see that no one is like, no, this is like all bullshit, we're not going to use these tools, I'm still writing all the code myself. So it was good to see this aligning.
You would say that the herd is thinning, that it's no longer what it was years ago, where this was where you wanted to get a career in because it was a gold mine, right?
Even yesterday when we said, will we still need Android developer, or what was the name of this? There will be developers, we all agreed. The question is how many? So there was, I think, once, provocative yesterday, we said like, when someone said, hey, I will still be needed because of these reasons, but it sounded like you will be the last one from the team maybe in the room while everything around is automated. So definitely see, everybody seems to, teams are shrinking. So after I think the manager get thinned out, there was another roundtable we had, seems now in the developer teams.
For me, I'm still looking for the balance. The concern that I've heard from people is that in 10 years from now, there's going to be no senior devs, no new senior devs, right? But I've also heard some people talk about how maybe education is impacted, where people, because of AI, are learning development in K through 12, as they're young, going through the school system, but by the time they graduate high school, they are at the level of a senior dev. Like maybe we advance even in our education system because of AI, and we're bringing people, leveling them up faster.
I like this view because it's somewhere in between, right?
Where's the balance?
Because it was definitely like the point yesterday that everybody said we are still needed because we have this knowledge. We've done all these things, we failed, we exactly what to look for in the code, in the generated code, in the code that someone vibe codes, even in projects. I'm seeing this. I have like people, or else company, putting something out. They never wrote a single line of code in their life. They're putting up full projects. But with our experience, we can point, have you checked this? I think this is wrong. But we can do this because of the experience. But where will the experience come from in 10 years, right? So even if our jobs are safe. And I like that. It comes from when we do it from the ground up, right?
One of the guys, I think he was about 2 seats away from you. He said something, I think he referred to it as comprehension debt. It was the idea that when you have AI do all of the work, you're completely disconnected from what it is, and your involvement with the code is less because you're not the one actually doing it.
We read about it, I saw it in others, I see myself like, if you constantly ship things, but you're not attached to the code anymore, first you don't learn anything anymore. I think it's something we talked about, how can you still learn? But also, yeah, get detached from it, although you're kind of the owner of it.
Yeah, you're kind of guiding it, but you're not necessarily immersed
So
in
definitely, yeah, it's very different from I've written every single line of code with this and optimized it,
Yes, you're familiar with it, right? And so my mind, I was sitting there, my mind's I always go into problem solving. Like how do we solve this problem? How do we solve this problem? And when I looked at, or I listened to the one guy on the other side of the room, because I have a friend here in Orlando that talks about the art of play, and he's always talking about how people need to be more playful in what they do, right? When I started learning how to do video and editing and writing, I did it by playing with it. I interacted with the experience and I became better at what I did, right? As humans, the more we play with something, the better we become at it, right? So the one gentleman off in the corner brings up the fact that he actually goes back and challenges the code, and I went, he's playing with it. He's playing with, like, he's having AI do the coding, but then he's playing with it back, right? He's challenging it. Okay, what about this? What about this?
Yeah, I love this idea. I think two people like that doing the same thing. They told us because exactly, how do we get back? How do we enjoy just reviewing the code, which is a very boring task, and people get bored out of this. And I love this idea. Like instead of trying, because some people also said, I'm trying to rewrite it myself just to see if I can still do it. I don't think that scales. This gamifying it. Hey, question me. I love this idea.
Yes.
I immediately mentioned it yesterday to my team. I think this is a really cool thing.
Yeah, playing with the code. And so what you're going to do is we're going to have, the herd is going to thin because AI is going to be taking jobs, right? But it's not the idea that there's no jobs left, but the jobs that remain are going to be the people who just love what they do. Mm-hmm. They're going to play with the code. They're going to learn it. And so those people, I see those professionals, those developers being able to still grow in the industry because they're going to be needed.
That's actually a good point. So you said multiple times now we're thinning out, there's less developers. It sounds like a bad thing, but to be honest, when you look at a lot of the teams, the team sizes for mobile app usually are far too big. But we needed it often because of this specialization. We have these cross-platform teams, but there's to Android, to iOS, to backend, to frontend, I don't know, maybe to Angular, to React, whatever, right? I mean, it's actually nonsense. The idea was always work together, own the product together, but it wasn't possible. But with AI, it is possible. And a smaller team was always, by definition, more efficient than a larger team. But now we have the tools to be able to do it. We have small, efficient teams to hopefully make better software. And hopefully we enjoy more what we're doing and not I'm waiting for the backend ticket the third day in a row, So I think it's a good thing also that's happening this week.
So I'd like you to kind of summarize a bit. Where do you see development going? Where do you see where we're at today? Where do you see it tomorrow? And you can say whether it's 5, 10 years from now. Talk a little bit about what you see that's going to be coming up in the future.
I think putting a tag in years or months is very hard right now. I remember end of last year when there were people going on stage. Our best engineers haven't written a single line of code in months, and then most of us were yeah, sure, I can see in your product or something. We could make this joke. But it's only half a year later, and most of us have not written a single line of code since. So what just half a year ago felt like the future is already complete reality for all of us. So how to make the prediction there, if it's is it stalling now or it's accelerating with the same pace? What I would say, we agree, teams will get smaller. I think specializations like we used to have, even within Android, the guy that does the Gradle build or the guy that does the architecture, I think this will thin out. And maybe it's the Android guy, but I think yesterday was more mobile is still a specification that for a short amount of time at least will stay. You might work together more with the iOS folks. You might have shared platform codes. I mean, we have the tools also with Kotlin to do this. Because the knowledge is still the same. Someone mentioned I don't have any idea about iOS, but I was able to point the agent towards this is probably the problem because something is janky in the UI. And with the knowledge yet, even if you don't know the terms and the APIs, that knowledge is still useful. So I think being in the mobile space and being a bit more open about platform and what framework. Let's not fight about frameworks anymore, with Flutter or KMP or whatever. I think short term, I believe these will stay. Long term, I would say if you want to be on the safe side, try to be a bit full stack. Like the classic T-shaped engineer. I will always for long SoundCloud, for a long time, will be the mobile dude, the client dude, because this is what I did like for a longest time. I have some knowledge there, but I will touch the back end, I will touch the front end, and these tools allow it. So this is like the idea of the T-shaped engineer. I think if you want to be on the safe side, enjoy developing, that's the thing. I always say, although I don't write the code anymore, it feels like doing the same things as before. Thinking about the same problems, the same edge cases. Maybe it's a bit more QA. I was in a podcast with some QA company and I told them, I think this is your golden age now. It's the QA is needed when everybody is writing software that never wrote software in their life. So I think it shift a bit towards that. Let's see how much we can automate. I think there will be developers. We're just like Grady Butch, like one of the old guys in the industry. He recently said, we're actually in the third golden age of software development. He was very positive about it. We just don't do the plumbing anymore. We're still doing the systems, the architecture. We design software. I don't have to write every line of Jotpeg Compose code, and I'm actually happy about that because also tiring, being up to date. Oh, what API is now new? Like, let the plumbing do the tools.
What would you say to someone who's maybe jumped into this career just a few years ago, and now they're looking at it, and maybe they're heavily concerned, about what's next? What would you say to them?
The good thing is the people that recently came in, they're young, and I see this also like at SoundCloud, like they have this energy. They're the fresh ones. It always was like that, right? You can always learn from them, and it's always like a give and take. And I think it's the same. And they, with these tools, being like AI native, growing up with this, it is a chance for them. They can outrun the senior developer that would say, "Oh, I will never reach this level," And then if both work together, I think it will be really good. So I don't think you need to be that scared, but you have to be maybe adapting fast to the tools and be definitely open. Because I also see developers being a bit hesitating on these tools, and this is the chance for juniors, like
To jump.
to jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
Do
great.
not think, just jump. Yeah.
Yeah, don't think. Just jump.